Hi everyone. Okay, so that is my start. I'm afraid it's going to be not necessarily Eurasian or Europe focused because I'm from Ukraine, so our remining will start from demining quite soon, so remining will be later. So those activities are right now on pause. And however, I'd like you to be aware of certain interesting numbers. So currently we extract 500 times more resources than we're supposed to. And that comes only not into the minerals number, but it also comes into the water, it comes to the soil degradation and other resources that comes together with the mining. So we're mining not only the value, we're mining all the natural resources. And nature is not only of extraction, but it's also actually can be additional value creation or remining the value. And the total number of the tailing dams and the waste facilities around the world is not even counted properly. It's counted actually in millions. Some of the numbers which we know is only around Australia is around 8,000 tailing dams or waste facilities. And one of the tailing dam, actually I think it's owned by BHP, it can potentially provide 10% of the rare earths, which is currently right now we know dominated by China. There are some other facilities in the United States, Canada, Ukraine of course. In Ukraine we have over 400 facilities identified, which not only from mining but also from metallurgical industry, from the other heavy industries, from oil and gas, which contain very different and very interesting concentrates in them, which would need to be extracted. But again, currently what we're looking at, we're looking at a slightly different region, a bit further than Eurasia, is in South Africa. And there are some interesting facilities there, where we're actually developing a different kind of blueprint. Not just remine, not just extract, but actually to create the value. And I'm going to take you through the story how we're doing that. So these are the opportunities that I mentioned before. If you think from the perspective not just extraction, and if you're going to continue at this pace of extraction of their primary resources or primary raw materials, right, we're going to end up where we would need to have 3 planets by 2050 or 2 planets by 2030. That's a common number, and I think this speed is accelerating. It's probably accelerating as quickly as we're not going to match our 1.5 degrees according to the Paris Climate Agreement. However, on the other side of the opportunities, and actually that overexploitation comes with a big cost. We all talk here about the nice revenues and high profit shares and RRs and so on and so forth. However, that total cost comes at the big cost of our GDP. So if you look from the perspective of the economy, not just a race to the minerals or race to their securing the minerals for particular value chains or supply chains, that comes to the cost of the total of 50% of our GDP. That's how big it is of our extraction. So if you look at the bright side of this coin, on the other side, so the nature positive solutions or nature positive products and solutions, which include secondary materials, which include recycling, which include secondary materials refining, so includes anything that comes not just from the extraction, but actually reduce, reuse, redesign, of course, has to come first, and then create nature-based solutions where we can actually replace, for instance, water treatment with the wetlands. Of course, everything comes with a cost-benefit analysis. So, and the total roughly benefits would account per $10 trillion a year. That's a number that has been published by World Economic Forum and by some other agencies as well, when they started to calculate hydrogen, when they started to add up their nature-based solutions, and of course, resource recovery. Secondary resource recovery. So that's our mission. So our mission is to actually streamline Remine to regeneration via redevelopment of the brownfield projects. So in a simple terms, it's basically tapping into the circular economy, closing the loops where it's possible, and developing alternative supply chains. As we all know, secondary materials are not enough, and this phase that what we are mining and remining, or actually trying to recycle Unfortunately, secondary materials will not be able to catch up with the primary ones to fulfill our consumption growth. So perhaps we need to look not only at demands, at the supply side, but also we need to review our demand side and review our consumption growth and rates. So speaking specifically about the extractives and energy value chain includes coal, and it includes, of course, the fossil fuels energy. So the opportunity is roughly around 3.5 trillion and 87 mil jobs creation. And I can tell from the project that we're looking at right now to develop that specifically blueprint, which we hopefully to be able to recreate together with the tailing facility standard and other governance standards, will be able to easily to be recreated in other places. We're looking at creation roughly about, if all comes together well, 200,000 jobs creation. So that's the approach. So as I mentioned before, we've been looking at Ukraine, and we're continually looking for Ukraine because that's emerging opportunities, and those planning is being done by our government and by investors together, and by some other agencies as well. And meantime, we're also looking at South Africa, and there is a little small tailing waste dump, which is very dry and looks absolutely but sexy. So on the left, this is how it looks. On the right, it's some of the big facilities in Ukraine which we have. And so we actually looking how we extract the value from the dried rocks, which look more like cement. And so basically we're looking not only how to recover the materials, but also how to decarbonize the foundation industries. Foundation industries, that's those tailing dams can supplement with the secondary materials. Those are construction materials, so we're looking at the cement. So possibly providing at scale the green construction materials. And we know with the construction growth, we only would need more and more such. And we'll try to see if we can potentially close loops around those. With regards to Ukraine, for instance, it's a much bigger challenge because, again, it's a Soviet-era type of facilities which would need to require much bigger investments and would require a very much blended finance approach coming from their international organizations like EBRD and World Bank. And this program actually has been developed by the governments and their OSCE, and then there is other programs as well by the government. So we see it as a public-private collaboration, but since it's also stretches to the agricultural lands, and that contaminated water can actually be very much a very good potential source of water for irrigation. So that's again a sort of symbiosis product, which we're looking more from the eco-industrial approach perspective. So it's not just a mining industry, it's more sort of a sustainable infrastructure approach, which this whole approach is being overseen by.
If you want to have
Pardon?
your time's up.
Yeah, and yeah, that's basically the summary, how to break down the complexity into simple complexity, it's still complexity, and take it from there. Thank you for your time.